The West Coast Eagles came into this year hoping that Harley Reid could change it all, but instead it seems they could only move 2 spots up the ladder from last year and in the process lose a coach. Let's go ahead and get into West Coast Eagles exit meeting. So boys, how are we?
Did that hear me?
No, I didn't.
Oh, nice. New equipment.
What were you doing?
I was singing.
Oh, I didn't hear you singing.
Yeah, I was humming and singing and humming. Alrighty, the Eagles. We've just come off.
The last exit meeting you guys got was North.
Yeah, we just finished off North. So, welcome back to another week of the Nothing But Footy podcast.
It's gonna take a while
Hope you guys are
before
To get
we
interesting.
get to the good team.
Yeah.
All right. We just give us a couple. Just give us a couple weeks.
When does it get
alright?
good? When does it get good, you reckon?
8th, maybe 9th.
No, we'll have St Kilda. Can will tee off on St Kilda. That'll be good.
I'd say
reckon
for me,
Adelaide or
Freo.
Melbourne could be good.
I reckon
Melbourne,
Melbourne
I
will be
reckon,
good.
could be
Melbourne
No,
will
but
be
I
good.
mean from like at this point, from there to there, it's consistently good.
Yeah.
Good.
What?
Do you know Dwayne Russell?
No.
He's got the SEN show, right?
The sound, when is his sound? It's good.
And every time like he gets a caller in, they're like, "Oh, how are you, Dwayne?" He goes, "Good."
Well, we know a lot about radio from last night.
Oh, do you want to tell a story, Sharky?
Yeah, so
Triple M.
last night, me and the guys are out, and it hits about 12 o'clock, which is when I now know what it's called. I always just thought it was this guy rambling on.
Night
It's called
shift.
The Man Cave.
Oh,
The night shift man cave.
Oh, right.
And basically, I was like, you know what? I listen to it a lot when I'm like, can't go to sleep or stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm calling up with the guys. They were talking about P-platers. You know what? I'm a P-plater. We know someone that's a really bad P-plate driver. So I was
Yep.
like, I'll just pretend to be him
Yep.
and get on. And at the time, it's like, it's perfect. Everything's flowing. It's like, I'm going to be the next caller. Call up. They go, yeah, what's it about? They go, we'd love to have you on. Just can you hold for like a couple minutes? I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
How long did you hold, Sharky?
I was on hold for 2 hours. It got to 3 a.m., I think. I got on and I was texting the guys because after an hour and a half, we all went home and we just listened by ourselves. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to get on and I'm going to ramble for so long and try and like keep this going. Because I talked about like 4 or 5, I reckon there'd be 6 other topics that I could comment on as the younger demographic. Because they were all like 60 plus the people that were calling up.
Yeah.
They were talking about online dating.
All truck drivers.
Oh, like tooting the horn was a big deal.
Oh yeah, tooting the truck driver's horn was a massive
And I was
deal.
like-
I didn't realise that was illegal to
Well, they said in New South Wales.
toot your horn. No, but weren't they saying it's illegal just to toot your horn?
I was saying it in New
Unless
South Wales.
something's going on, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's illegal for even car users.
Yeah. Anyway, so I went ahead. I got on. No, so like, there's this guy that like,
The producer.
when you call up on the phone, you basically are just getting the radio, right? And the producer will cut in and out and just play over the radio. So it's really confusing. And the producer's like, listen, mate, you're on soon. And I'm like, oh, cool. I've been on for an hour and a half. Like, I'm ready. The 2 hour mark hits. The producer doesn't go, you're on now. They just say your name and you have to be paying attention. So he goes, you know, and I go, yeah, I'm here. And he's like, what do you want to talk about? So I talk about.
he just said talk.
Yeah.
he, just
He actually did just say
He
talk.
looked at you and goes, talk.
Talk. I was like, oh, okay. And then I started talking, and then I get to the end of it, right? And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna bring it to the next topic because they were talking about bag searches or something, and I was like, oh, at my work they used to do that. And I went, oh, and one more thing, I was muted. He couldn't hear me. They cut me off. They genuinely cut me off. So we know a lot about radio here.
Yep. 2.5 hour
I was trying to think a way that I could sneak in that I have with the podcast, be like, nothing but footy.
Oh, should
Yeah,
I?
give it a listen.
Would have been smart.
Give it a listen, guys. No, they're all NRL supporters over there. Anyway, back to Eagles.
No,
It's Sydney based, but it's
but this one was the Victorian channel.
no, it's Sydney
Just
based.
at late at night, I think they just put them like together.
It's Australian wide. It's like that's why they were talking about Bathurst so much and people from Bathurst and things like
But
that.
how would you get the frequencies?
They just broadcast. They do that.
So that version would have been delayed from the real version.
Yeah, because mine was up to date, and I think your guys was the relayed version.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, we'll get into Eagles. So they had 5 wins this year and 18 losses. Last year, they had 3 wins and 20 losses, and they were at the bottom of the ladder at the end of the year. This year, they finished up 16th. Thoughts, feelings, opinions?
Oh, God, we have to talk about them now, don't we?
Yeah, we can't drag it on anymore.
Yeah, there's no more dragging it on. So, where am I? Here I am. The Eagles. Oh, sorry. I was looking at last year at 3 wins and 20 losses. I thought I was looking at the North thing again, so I thought I was in the wrong spot. 5 wins, 18 losses. I will say they did better than what we thought they would.
They looked promising, I reckon, the second quarter of the year. You know, when Harley Reid was kind of making the strides?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, it's him.
What I will say is they finally found form at home.
Yeah.
This was a big thing for me. This was when people get on that flight to Perth, they now know that they're not just going to win by 100 points
Yeah.
at Optus Stadium. And they always were, that's always been their territory. But obviously when they were an awful side, teams would come out and flog them and then leave. But this year it was more so they really put competition up when it was at home for most of the year. I think that last quarter of the year, I think they dropped down a little bit, but obviously beat Freo at home, beat Richmond at their home as well. I forgot who else they beat at home, but
I think they beat Freo.
They beat Freo there, but that doesn't really count because that's like both of their homes, so it's kind of like
Still a pretty good win though.
yeah, great
The
win.
derby.
Yeah, but yeah, so there was a good patch. Finally found form at home. Actual threats at home, so that was a good thing that I saw. Keon, I'll let you give a little bit of your opinion.
I think that, yeah, like Will said, they definitely played better football than we probably expected. But at times they were still, if they didn't have, like, Yo plays some good footy, but then if Yo wasn't playing, they were struggling quite a bit in the midfield. I mean, Tim Kelly's still just, I don't think he was very good this season.
He's getting paid a lot as well.
Yeah, so he's
Here
struggling
comes
quite
the
a bit.
money.
But yeah, that was kind of my thoughts. I do think, though, they were able to get Yo to play some consistent footy again. Waterman was able to get a whole season sort of going somewhat again after his battles off the field. McGovern actually had a pretty healthy season. However, he just probably won't be there next time that they're sort of fighting for a flag. So that one doesn't matter too much. And they were able to get a couple of young players, probably not as many as they probably wanted to, but we obviously saw Harley Reid, like I said, Waterman. Oscar Allen was able to get some games into his legs in the back half of the season. There was just a couple of players like Hewitt, they weren't able to get too much into him. So yeah, just a bit of a weird. I think they did well for what they had. Like, I look at their list, and we'll obviously speak about it a bit later, but I don't think they have too many young players.
Yeah, no, definitely not. They struggle in a lot of areas for mine. Just coming off what you said, I definitely agree. It was a really good thing to see Waterman have a season like he did. Obviously, how many games did he play as well? He missed out on at least 3 or 4 games, I'd say. So it was good to see him have a season he
20
did.
games.
So yeah, missed out on 3 games. Might have been injured in the bye as well, so who knows? But Yo playing a full season was elite to see. He was very, very good. If you had Tim Kelly playing really good football there, then you'd see a good midfield. But it was just lacking. Like, you're just not firing on all cylinders. I will move into, for me, I feel like they're in, their worst players are very, very bad. And their best players are like pretty classy, right? So you've got your McGoverns, your Barasses, your Yos, your Watermans, your Oscar Allens, who are very classy, but you've got other players that don't make it into most people's sides, maybe not even their lists, and they're playing games every week. So I've just got a statistic here. So So throughout the season, this is for people that played more than 10 games for the year. And so for people that played more than 10 games a year, there was 25 players and only 12 of them had over 15 disposals more than five times or more. So that's
a problem.
So that's like a 43% of players that played more than 10 games for the year that was able to reach that 15 disposal mark 5 times or more in the season. So big issues. The skill gap between their worst and their best is just absolutely huge.
Yeah, I agree on that one. It just felt like their good players were good and their bad players were bad. And I don't know. I don't really know what you do to fix that one there. I don't know.
That's the problem. They've been in at the bottom for so long. But they actually, in my opinion, apart from Harley Reid, they haven't got anyone. Like in the last episode, we spoke about North Melbourne and the young players that they have. Like you got Dersma, who's shown a little bit, McKercher, Sheasel, who else? Who was it? It was Comben. Like they have those players, whereas I just don't feel like West Coast have many players. Like on Will's point, and I think as you'll bring up a bit later, is like they have nothing on their wings. They don't have anything on their half back. Like they just don't have players that can move the ball. I mean, they've been at the bottom for so long, but they're not a young team.
No, they're not.
So yeah, there's definitely some worries there for them, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. They just don't feel. I feel like they're never like. You're never like, oh, that's the worst team in the league. But you're always like, they could be better because we know what West Coast can be like, and we know that club has the culture around it that'll probably switch over. And I reckon getting Harley was a good step in the right direction. Going, we want to, not build the team around him, but really utilize him. And yeah, just overall, just feel like they aren't out of it. I feel like if they get some things right, they'll be a aggressive team. They also did lose a coach this year, which does massive things to them. I don't know if we're going to discuss that later or want to discuss that now.
We can discuss it now.
What do you guys think that did for the team? What do you think it was the right move? Do you think the new coach is going to be all right?
I think it just had to happen for the problems that they had. I think the way it was probably done was not in the right manner, but I think it had to be done just as a fresh face, sort of move it on from
next chapter.
Yeah, basically like that. New coach. They got a good coach in McWalter. I think he's going to be pretty good. I haven't seen too much of him apart from what he did at Richmond when Hardwick left, and what he did there, he seemed all right. He seems that he also builds good relationships with players. Like you see, Graham wanting to go over there. So if a player is asked to go there, that kind of shows there's relationships there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he can start to build some good relationship with those players. And yeah, the only problem is they're just in this hole of, like I said, like
they're in this rut.
It's just these. I would rather be North Melbourne and Richmond than be West Coast because I just don't know. It's going to take years, in my opinion. I think Harley Reid's career could end up not being as good as it possibly could be.
I don't reckon he'll stay.
You reckon he'll leave?
Yeah. I reckon he's a Melbourne boy. I reckon you got to think.
Well, he's not a Melbourne boy.
No, well, I reckon he's a Victorian boy. You got to think about how tightly wound a country community is and how different of a lifestyle it would be to being in the city. I reckon he'll go out to live somewhere in the outer skirts of the city, go to training in a Melbourne team, come back, do that.
At Geelong then?
Yeah.
I would not say no to Geelong.
I could only see him playing at Geelong because when you think about it, right, if he moves to any other Melbourne team, you're still living in this city, which he hasn't done his entire life. Like,
but he's doing that now.
He's not going to live. He's not going to be able to live at home, like in that community, and then be able to go to training every day.
I think it's more like the I play on a Friday, I'll go see my family the Saturday and Sunday kind of thing.
Yeah,
which he can't currently do.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the main thing because you got to remember he's like our age. Like imagine being picked up and put it. Imagine being taken to like Bendigo to live there. Like that's basically what's happened for him, but vice versa. Like, it'd be a big change.
I just think he loves West Coast. Like, he's given us no signs that he feels the way like Horn Francis did. Horn Francis was never happy to be where he is. Like, you see signs from players like that. Like, we saw signs from Tanner Bruin when he was drafted at GWS. Didn't smile when he got drafted. Requested a trade not long after to Geelong. Like, Horn Francis wasn't happy at all that entire year at North. And I don't know. I feel like how much he loves Simpson. It'll depend how much he likes Minnie as well. If he likes Minnie a lot, feel like he loves the boys. I don't know. He just doesn't strike me as the type of bloke. Like, do you reckon if you were playing AFL football, do you reckon you would care where you went?
Yeah.
You would?
Well, I'm a different... We all know that I'm very, not organised, but routine-based person and don't like getting thrown out of the whack or anything. If it was me and I had to basically up and rebuild my life somewhere else, we basically did.
Yeah.
It'd be... I don't know. I think it'd be a lot. I reckon that it would be much easier to come back here and have to focus on a lot less stuff, like kind of get back into the swing of things and then just play your football. Where right now, and this will change obviously, he's balancing getting used to a new life and playing football.
Yeah, well, I agree with you in the sense that it would be easier, yes. But in terms of like whether I feel like he will leave or won't leave, you know, it seems as though he doesn't seem like the type to not leave.
No, he's committed, but he would have known coming into this for a long time that's highly likely he's going to move.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, you have to
give him time. I agree with Will. I think he will. He'll stay there for a bit. It's just their problem if they continue to stay at the bottom of the ladder and not win games.
Yeah.
I think it'll be more. I agree with it. I think it'll be more of a success thing than a homesick. I think it's like if they're at the bottom of the ladder for so long, there's only so much a player can take. You know what I mean? But I did just want to touch on it a bit, and it's the Eagles don't have a proper wingman, a good wingman, a consistent wingman. You'd say their main wingman for the year was Jaden Hunt, right? He's been their wingman for the past 2 years, right? He had a couple stints where he would go like maybe 2 or 3 rounds where he would go down back and take the kickouts, but even still rotating on a wing. So we'll say he's their main wingman. He played 20 games this year, and this is not going in depth on stats, but he played 20 games this year. In 16 of those games, his direct matchup had more disposals than Jaden Hunt. So, you know, that can go a whole heap of different areas, whether they're effective, whether, you know, Jaden Hunt's doing other stuff off the ball. But just from a point of view of getting the football, Jaden Hunt has 16 games out of 20. So in 4 games, he's outplaying his opponent in disposals, which is just, in my opinion, not enough from a player of that a player like that. This is someone that, you know, they've invested in. They've played him for the entire season, the both last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to touch on it. In round 10, West Coast played against Melbourne, right? So in that game, his direct matchup, well, let's just say it is either way. Let's just say that his matchup was Neil Bullen, because that's who was listed on as that wing. Probably maybe played half forward. Neil Bullen did, but Neil Bullen had 23 disposals and a goal. And let's say it wasn't Neil Bullen, it was the first-year player, Caleb Windsor. So the first-year player, Caleb Windsor, if I can find him, bloody hell. He had 13 disposals and a goal. You think, oh, that's not that many. That's not that good. Jaden Hunt had 11 touches and a goal. So you could pick almost every player on the field that had more disposals than him that could have played wing that day. You know what I mean? So he's a majority wing, and the people that are rotating through the wing are getting the ball more than him and using it more than him. So they need proper wingmen. Obviously, you couldn't even tell. Like, their other wingmen who like
You don't know who they are.
Andrew Gaff, like he played 3 games this year, so he's obviously not maybe a Duggan if he goes up, a Brady Hugh, like Hoff, sorry, but like they need 2 wingmen or at least 1 wingman that's elite. You look at every team that has at least 1 elite wingman, like every good team.
Well, their problem is Jane Hunt's not even that good of a player.
Yeah,
so-
exactly. So it's like you've got a Brad Hill who can. He doesn't play a bad game, if you know what I mean. Like he might be inconsistent in the sense that he'll play an elite game and then an all right game, but he won't play a bad game. He won't get out skilled by his opponent. Like Errol Goulden, D'Ambrosio, obviously, even Jasper Fletcher and players like Caleb Windsor, in my opinion, are above him.
Yeah.
In terms of skill, in terms of potential, in terms of everything. I feel like they're already above him with only 40-ish games on their resume. So, they need to find some better wingmen. How you do that, not sure. But, Jeremy Sharp. He got delisted from Gold Coast last year. He went to Fremantle. Fremantle picked him up, match up against Jaden Hunt, destroyed him. So that's another WA team. Like West Coast could have picked up Jeremy Sharp. Obviously, don't know the ties towards Jeremy Sharp and Freo, but that's showing that even a delisted player that has only played his first season this year can make more an impact. So I just thought I'd touch on that.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you. That's what I mean. They've just got problems all over there. All over their list, and I just don't see how they're gonna get out of these problems. There's some big holes that they somehow have to fill with not very much that they have.
I just had a query. Actually, no, I can ask you later. So we'll move on to the BNF.
Yeah, so the BNF for West Coast. So the voting system is a 3-2-1 system where all the, I believe, coaching match committee, every member of the match committee votes. They don't actually say how many people that is. I imagine it's probably 4 or 3. That's what most of the other BNFs have had. But we'll start off with number 10, Tim Kelly, with 112 votes. No thoughts?
No. I think he's just been a real disappointment for him.
And he's getting paid a lot of money. I know we've touched on that. So, he needs to be a lot higher than that.
Yeah, then you have number 9, Harley Reid, with 114 votes.
See, this surprised me because I thought he'd be higher. But,
You reckon?
Yeah, me personally, I thought he'd be higher, but I think that is a little bit of a hot take upon reflection. I think I had him in my top 5 when we listed out for the BNF, but yeah.
Then you got a number 8, Tom Cole, with 117 votes.
He had a good year.
Thoughts, Keon?
Yeah, he had just a year.
Yeah.
He played football.
Number 7, Tom Barras, 122 votes.
Missed games.
Yeah.
Also leaving. He also is a life member now, isn't he, of some kind? He won something. I'll pull that up later when we go into it.
A premiership?
What? Oh, he won a premiership, but like...
That makes you a life member, does it not?
So he won something. I'll have a look. And then you go number 6, Jamie Cripps, 127 votes.
You don't want to be having Jamie Cripps in your top 10 in your best and fairest because he's going to be there for another
2 years.
2 years and he's gone. So this is not someone you want in your top 7 for your best and fairest.
Good player though.
Good player though. Don't get me wrong. It's just not something you want to have.
Then you have Brady Hugh.
Brady Hoff.
They call him Hugh on the field. Come on. 136 votes. Yeah. Thoughts?
No, I really like him.
He had a good year.
He's going to be one of him and Harley Reid is their future, in my opinion. I think those two with Waterman and Allen up forward, but Hoff in the back line.
Really showed in that second half of the year. Really, really showed.
Yeah. Then we move to Liam Duggan.
I rate Liam Duggan.
With 141 votes.
I really rate him. I actually think he's a good player, a very good player. Yeah.
I think 70% of the time he's a good player, and then 30% of the time he has his moments where he's not amazing and he lacks accountability for his player. and doesn't really help out defensively. But that 70% where he does play well, I think he's a very good player.
Then we move on to the top three. So your guys' top three was McGovern, Waterman, and Yo.
That was mine.
That was Keon, sorry. And Will's was McGovern, Yo, Waterman. So with number 3, we have Jake Waterman, 155 votes. So
Great season.
yeah, pretty
Really
good.
kind of just came out of nowhere. Sort of in the way he was kicking goals. Kind of makes sense though. No Oscar Allen, someone had to step up. But there was at times where he was just this presence that he was just marking the ball in these packs, and it was just such a good thing to see him being able to play football.
People were saying he was the best leading mark in the league for a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
easily. He came in like a train.
Well, he got the nickname G Train, so
He would actually. There was
Where's
times
the G
where-
come from?
no, there was an old footballer. His
Gotcha.
nickname was the G Train, and he was playing like the G Train.
Gotcha.
That was like my favorite part of football in that 4-block period where he was just kicking 5 goals a game,
Yeah, well, I think he went like
6-5-4,
7-6-5-4-3-2
Yeah.
or something.
and it all started. His best year of his career started with Richmond, so he kicked an absolute bag on us, and he always does. Last year he did the same thing, I'm pretty sure, but yeah.
Then we move on to second place, Elliot Yo with 177 votes.
A late year, great player. Really good to show some good form again. It sucks because, like Keon said, these players like Yo, McGovern, Jamie Cripps, Tom Cole, probably Tim Kelly, they're not going to be there when these guys become good. This team becomes good again. So this is still looking like just a dying ship that needs some rebuilding. I don't know what they do, to be honest, because there's so many old players here.
Yeah,
The-
played
the
20
thing-
games this year. Sorry, Sharky.
Oh, the thing I see with this is that, yes, they have some good players, but they don't have enough good players that they have some good new players, and they have some good old players. But when we go on this continuous cycle of the new players are going to come up and the old players are going to leave, are the players going to be good? Without the older players, is the team still going to be good?
Yeah, well, it's just you can't be having.
Can't be relying on the older players.
How old is he? 31, Jeremy McGovern.
I'll look now.
Yeah, because you can't be having a 31-year-old or a 30-year-old. Oh, maybe 30, but he's their best and fairest winner, their very best player.
32.
32 years old, Jeremy McGovern. So he's their very best player, and he'll be sticking around for 2-ish years, maybe 3
Yeah.
max.
Anyway,
And very prone to injury.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't look good.
Anyway, Wills went ahead and spoiled the winner of the best and fairest, Jeremy McGovern, with 184 votes. So comparing that to North Melbourne just off the bat, that's a lot more gradual. They're not kind of packed up into these groups. We saw in the last one, the top 3, I think there was roughly, I'll look now, about a 100-point jump between each of them. These guys seem more flat out. Between first and second, there's 7 votes in it. So that's like what I think is the max is 12 votes. That's one game. Between half, you really only need to get two coaches. I don't even know. I was trying to do the maths in my head and I was like, oh, there's no point.
Do you know
'cause I
how
don't
many
the proper
coaches
systems.
vote?
They don't say.
I reckon there's 5.
They
Just
say
off
the
of how many
committee.
vote.
Yeah.
How many
Definitely
votes
more than
some of them got.
I was
would
thinking
assume.
4. There's 4 in the committee.
could be.
It's definitely more than 2, less than 5, I reckon.
6 votes, 4 coaches, 24 votes a game.
Anyway, I looked high and low for that system, but could not find it. Anyway, thoughts and opinions on that top 10? Is that the top 10 you wanted? People who missed out?
The top 10 makes sense. This is compared to the North top 10. I felt as though that it wasn't the right people in that top 10. This is one where I feel like everyone in this top 10 deserves to be in this top 10, I feel like. But my issue is the age of the people in this top 10. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Well, if this is the top 10 that you're seeing in a top 8 team, then you're going, well, yeah, this is actually all right.
Yeah.
Because, you've got Harley, Reid, you've got Hoff, those younger players kind of at the bottom building up. And then you got your older players. But this is what I mean. They're just in this they're just in this hole.
You cannot be... You're actually spot on there. Like, if this was like a 6th place side, perfect. You've got your old, you've got your young, great potential. And normally the players outside of this top 10 are like still very good players.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like your very best are not young enough to carry you on.
Yeah. Then we'll move on to some list changes that they had coming into this year that might have affected their game. So we all know Harley Reid came in at pick 1 in the draft. He played 20 games this year. Then we'll discuss him the whole time, but we basically know how we all feel about him. Probably was on to in rising star for a long time until he got suspended. Personally, if you ask me, I felt like he went through ruts
I agree.
he was I'm not what everyone says I was going to be. Then he was like, I'm here doing the work. And then he got suspended, and I think it all kind of dwindled down. He goes, well, I'm not going to get any accolades at the end of the year. Like, what's the point? Would you guys feel the same way? Do you feel like...
Yeah, no.
That's the timeline that I feel.
I agree with you. I think his problem was that I feel like he just needs to get the ball in his hand, and that's why I was really wanting to see him go to the halfback, because that's the easiest place to get the ball. He'll just learn what it feels like to have 25, 30 touches as something to get used to. We see Dacos, we've seen Sheasel. It sort of seems like it's the new sort of meta for these players to just get him used to having the ball. So interesting to see what happens next year if they continue just playing in the midfield. I mean, he's not bad in the midfield, but I would just like to see the ball in his hands more and grow that confidence. He's already got a lot of it to take on players, and I love it. But there are times where, he's only having 10, 12 touches in games, especially that back in the season.
Yeah, you could agree though that he's not the type. Like he's not a halfbacker like type of player.
No, I just want to see him with the ball.
Like with the ball, yeah. I agree with that. You couldn't keep him there too long after he gets his... you'd want him in the midfield. I agree with you, Sharky. I think it took him time to find form, and then once he did find form, he got suspended, and then he had to find that form again after having a break. I don't know. I think we see that from most of the rookies throughout the year. Like, Windsor did it. Wilson did it.
The Wizard
did it. None of them played a full good year of just straight elite football. So
yeah,
even just seeing those signs, I thought he was very good throughout the year. But you could tell that he wasn't fully buying into some of the games as well.
Yeah, and then you have Archer Reid, who they picked up at pick 30, key forward. He played 0 games.
Maybe a little bit stiff considering Oscar Allen was injured the entire year. You'd think if there was a time...
Don't know too much on him, so... Yeah, but you would assume that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would think that if there was a time to let him develop, it would be then. But I guess Waterman was over the top.
Then we go to Clay Hall, pick 38, midfielder, who played 3 games.
Yeah, people were very not happy that he didn't play sooner.
Yeah, I wanted to
When did he debut?
Very late.
Around 18 or something, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I liked him, and I wanted to see him more.
I thought he was very good as well, yeah.
Then we go on to Harvey Johnston, pick 49.
Yeah, another player I actually didn't mind.
6 games.
I did quite like him.
Wait. Oh, no, I'm thinking of the Gold Coast Johnston. The guy that did the backflip.
Oh, yes, no, not him. I actually quite liked Johnston. I thought he was all right. He had a couple of moments where he probably struggled at times and was probably out-muscled, I would say, but...
Yeah.
Then we move on to Chloe Livestone?
Cohen.
They call him Chloe on the field. Rookie, Ruckman, 0 games.
Yeah.
Can't really comment anything there.
No.
Then you got Locke Rollerstein?
Rollinson.
Yeah, who
I think
knows?
it's Rowanson. Yeah.
I've never seen anyone's name Locke.
Yeah,
like
like
that.
that. Yeah, no.
Is that his full name?
Yeah, that's his first name. Locke.
It's just Locke.
Loch. Locke.
It's not even Lock E or Lock
Not Locke.
1?
No, just Locke.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. Quirky parents. He was picked up in the rookie draft as a forward. 1 game. Then we go into some trades they had. So they had Tyler Brockman from Hawthorn. They also gave Hawthorn... Did they get pick 44?
They gave Hawthorn.
They gave Hawthorn pick 44 and pick 63. He played 10 games this year.
I love Tyler Brockman. I think he's going to be an elite player coming through the years. I was surprised that Hawthorn was allowed to let him go, but that was more for family reasons, I believe, that he went back to Perth. But yeah, I do really like him. He was injured at times, and then they got some games in him, and he was starting to show a bit of form. So I'm excited to see what he can do next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think at Hawthorn, I thought he was really good. I thought he showed very, very good signs at Hawthorn. At West Coast, I was expecting more from him this year. I do know that he did get injured though, so he did have a bit of an injury-prone season. So you could probably cut him some slack on that. Played like a bit of a multitude of different areas this year. Played a little bit on the wing, on the half forward, half back. So yeah, good player. I think if he continues to grow, he'll be good. It just needs to get some games in.
Why didn't he get that many games? Does anyone know?
Injury. We just talked about it, yeah.
Sorry.
Injury and like...
I was doing some other research.
Yeah.
Matt Flynn from GWS as a free agent. 4 games.
Yeah, so this was injury.
Well, this is bad. This started their season off horrible.
This is their number one ruckman, right? So this is the person who should be their number one ruckman. In my opinion, I think he's better than Williams. I rate Matt Flynn a lot. He obviously moved from GWS because he wasn't getting a game. Well, he was getting a game, but like he just slowly lost it to Briggsy. Good move, West Coast. I'm pretty sure with Williams, I'm pretty sure it's like about 80% of ruckmen have better games against Williams. So not ideal for someone like that. Get Matt Flynn in once he's healthy. Obviously wasn't healthy this year.
The problem was, so they picked up Matt Flynn and they went, yes, finally. Because Bailey Williams is a forward, but they just haven't been able to have a ruckman, so they've had to play him as a ruckman. So the whole preseason, he trained as a forward because they had Matt Flynn and they were like, yeah, well, finally we've got a ruckman, Bailey Williams. So apparently the forward line coach was not happy when Matt Flynn got injured because they were like, well, Bailey Williams is going back into the ruck. So their forward line didn't work well. So next year, if Matt Flynn's healthy, forward line is going to look like Waterman, Allen, and Williams. So I think that's going to look like a pretty good forward line.
So yeah, on average, in the last 10 games of the year, ruckman against West Coast scored 14 extra fantasy points than their average.
Gotcha.
So if you're averaging 100 fantasy points, you're projected to score 114, which is pretty big. It's the biggest out of all ruckmen, apart from Freo.
Fair enough then. We'll move on to some outs that they had, who they either delisted or retired. So you had Greg Clark, who was delisted. Luke... Oh, okay, I'll go through these. I'm going to butcher every second one.
Luke Foley.
Delisted.
Greg Clark, Luke Foley, Shannon Hearn.
Retired.
Seen him finish up. So he was a very good player. Premiership captain, I believe.
Greg Clark was a COVID champion. Do you remember?
Was he?
He was one of those guys that got lifted up when everyone had COVID.
Okay.
And he was like one of the only ones that kept their spot, I'm pretty sure.
Obviously, Nick Nat.
Retired.
One of the great careers. Xavier O'Neill.
Delisted.
He's from Blackburn.
Is he?
Played at Blackburn, yeah.
Sam Petreski-Seaton, who I thought when they first got him was quite a good pick, but
Delisted.
they've now...
So did I.
They've now...
Delisted him.
Yep. Then you got Luke Shuey.
Retired.
Yep, another. Oh wait, was Luke Shuey the captain when they won the premiership? Maybe. I got no idea. One of their greats as well. Connor West.
Delisted.
Isaiah Winder.
Delisted.
So
a fair few changes coming into the year.
Yeah, some key.
Well, Nick Nat Gold's pretty big.
Decade players. Obviously Hearn, Nick Nat, and Shuey. I mean, they've probably been their 3 key players in the last 15 years. So you lose your ruckman, you lose your defender, and you lose your midfielder. So that's unlucky for them, and that's something they're going to have to deal with, and especially through the years with Yo and Kelly and McGovern and all that leaving as well, like we said. On the injuries front, we sort of covered that stuff, obviously, with Brockman, Flynn, Elliot Yo was a bit sore throughout the year. Allen, I think, was it broken foot, was it? that what it was that he had?
Yeah, I think so.
So he missed, I think, the first 15 odd games maybe. And then other one that he's such a good player when he's able to play and he's healthy is Liam Ryan. I do really like him. Then they started putting him into the midfield a bit, and I didn't mind it. It was a nice little change. He's quick, agile, so be interesting to see how he can go next year. He's not too old. I think he's 27. So
he's an elite player.
Yeah.
I love Liam Ryan. He's one of those ones that it's like when he's not playing, you can tell he's not playing. Or like when he is playing, you can tell that he's playing. He makes immediate impact. He's one of those ones where he'll pick up the ball 11 times, but you really know what he's doing with it. So I definitely agree with that. He's a very good player and was definitely missing him. Could tell a very big difference once he got back into the side.
Yeah. So that's sort of the injuries. Were there any other injuries they were missing?
No, I don't think so. I think it was, I guess you could say Waterman. Waterman in and out the side 3 or 4 times, I think.
What was that from?
Just over the year, I think.
Yeah, just.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
If that wraps up the injuries, we might get into what next year looks like for them. So on the trading front, the current picks that they have are 3, 26. What's
You've already got rid of pick 14.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, I might have missed it. What did that? When they gained pick 14?
Oh, well, pick 14 is the one that we're getting for Liam Baker, or 13.
Oh, well, it wasn't on whatever I said. So where
No,
have I
isn't
copied and
that,
pasted?
I thought the way that was working was they were getting that through because of Barras.
What was that?
Aren't they getting that pick from Barras?
Oh, maybe. I just know that that's what Baker is going for.
Was.
Yeah.
Let me look here. Okay, no, I'm looking here on the website, and they have 3, 26, 63.
Yeah, I'm guessing Cowan's right about what he said. So what it'll be is Hawthorn will trade that pick to West Coast for Barras, and then West Coast will give that pick to Richmond for Baker.
You might not even get a pick though. That's the thing. Baker could just go to the draft, is what we're hearing.
Yeah, we've got the first pick of that draft.
No, but he won't go to that draft.
He'll go to the preseason.
Yeah, he'll go to.
Yeah, we've got the first pick.
Yeah, but I'm saying so you won't get anything.
Oh, we'll just get Baker back.
Yeah. Well, do you reckon he'll still? Do you reckon he'll still want to stay? I reckon he will just get picked. He will just get picked up by West Coast in that draft.
We've got the first pick of that draft, so
yeah,
we'll
but
just pick
they
him up.
but
Would
what if
they-
he, but
would
what
they
if
pick
he,
him up?
Yeah, he can.
No,
he can be like, no.
so-
if he doesn't want to go there, then
He just won't go.
Yeah.
But if he gets picked up from us,
then he goes, I don't want to play.
don't play.
Well, that's the thing.
Because
So
that's
what's
the thing.
point of picking him
when you
then?
pick him up on that, you can pay him as you don't have to pay him Liam Baker numbers.
He becomes a rookie.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to pay him like I'm sure they'd happily take that risk.
But I just
Then they're one
I don't
play
think,
down.
I don't think that would happen. He would just you wouldn't pick. You'd pick someone else, and then
I'm pretty sure he's
then
definitely
they
gonna go
would
for a
him.
pick.
Anyway, coming into 2025, the West Coast Eagles will have Jack Graham.
Graham.
They call him Grammas on the field. You guys just aren't hearing the nicknames.
They actually
like
call him Fridge on the field.
Fridge and Grammas. You know, like the peanut butter brand. Grammas. No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
And they're also going to lose Jack Darling from them to the Roos. Thoughts on those trades so far?
Jack Graham on a wing.
There you go. Could be. He'll probably midfield or wing, maybe half forward. I want to see what Jack Graham could do on a different set team. I think Richmond has seen lack of players leaving. I want to see how they go. The last ones I could think of is Dan Butler and Jack Higgins. So I would like to see how those guys do, Baker and Graham, when they go to West Coast.
Yep, and then we go into the also saying goodbye to Jord Baker.
Babyface.
He is delisted. Andrew Graff, he has retired.
Andrew Graff.
Gaff, sorry. They call him Graff on the field.
They call him Graff on the field.
They call him Graff on the field.
Yeah.
Jamie and Jones.
They
They call him Jamian. It's an inside joke. You wouldn't get it.
I don't know how I feel about this one.
Yeah, I was.
He's been delisted, by the way.
I was very surprised at this
Yeah.
one.
He's an odd one.
I thought he'll get picked up. I think somewhere,
Yeah.
depending if he wants to move states.
Where's
Next
he
one I was
originally
also
from?
surprised.
Well, next one I've got a funny story about.
Okay.
So
The next one is Zane True. He's been delisted.
So I was going through and making a list of, who I think the young players are that are going to lift this club through, their problems and who they can build on. And I'm like, all right, going through the list. Oh, sort of just looking at every player on the list. Oh, yep, Zane True, write him down, whatever. Going through, and then I go, righty, I've got the 24 goodbyes for the players that left. And then I read through the list. Zane True, wait a minute. Is there another bloke called Zane True? Because I thought Zane True was pretty good, to be honest. I had him written down as someone who's going to help the club lift and become a better club, but clearly they think otherwise.
I was very, very surprised. I thought he was very good. I only got a game in the second half of the season as well. But I thought he was a really good player. I don't know. It was stiff, in my opinion. But is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, it is. I guess one of the main big ins for this year is the new coach.
Yeah, Minnie, he's in now.
What's he going to do? I feel like I was listening to him on the radio the other day, the trade radio. God, he's media trained. Every second question. Oh, that's a great question. Oh, that's a fantastic question. Kane, that's a wonderful question. So he knows what he's doing there. Seemed like a really nice bloke. Seems like he was not thrown in the deep end of things, but basically was kind of rushed over there. He goes, yeah, got the call, had to buy a house, stuff like that. Like, just saw him through it. So it'll be interesting how they adjust to him.
Yeah, well, obviously...
youngest coach at the moment to be...
Long-time assistant coach at the Tigers, so... was surprised when we didn't hire him as the coach instead, and I really hope I'm not kicking myself when he starts coaching for the Eagles. Obviously, I had nothing to do with the picking
Yeah, they weren't calling
Adam Uze instead of Mini, but I'm really excited to see how he does. I thought he was good when he coached us when Dimmer left, but
They thought otherwise.
They did think otherwise. I think my main point of view for why they picked Uze over Mini was a fresh start, fresh coach, new approach to things. Obviously, Mini was with Dimmer for all that time. They didn't get rid of Dimmer just to bring in another Mini Dimmer. So, I wish all the best for him. I think he'll do pretty good.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It'll be interesting. I reckon fresh start for him will be good too. Being able to sort it out, not be beneath anyone that he's kind of... Because it's kind of awkward when you move up and you got working with other people that you were once peers with and now you're in charge of them. So it'll be interesting
Did you guys
for
see
him.
the Hawthorn stat?
No, I did not.
Something in the last 12 premierships are all assistant coaches of Hawthorn.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I did not see that one. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
We'll move on into the final section where we've got some players that we've outlined as the future of West Coast, and then we'll discuss where they need to go and what's going to happen there. Who wants to start us off on that one?
I'll just start naming some players, then you tell me if you think that they're in sort of that best sort of team that can sort of help them lift. Chesser?
Nope. I'm not going to talk for most of these, but I just want to talk about Chesser. Because Chesser, he's been playing for 2 years now. He started to get a game in that 2020, I think it was 2022 maybe even.
Yeah, I think it was.
And like, it was only a couple games, but this was someone that just, I feel as though has barely progressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had a couple games this year. I think he had maybe 2 games with 20 plus disposals. But he plays a role in a position that has plenty of chance to get the ball in his hands. And I just constantly see him not getting the ball. I feel like his progress is like he hasn't progressed at all enough for me to think that he's a good enough player to forward this.
He's played 32 games and averages 10 disposals.
Yeah, like it's just like, and he doesn't hit the scoreboard. Like, so the 10 disposals you see is the Liam Ryan having 10 disposals, kicking 2 goals, and then the other 8 are almost mark of the years. You know what I mean? Like
He has never had 20 plus.
he's never had 20. So this is what I mean. I think this year he might have gotten close, but
16 is the most he's ever had.
so yeah,
Last year he had 19.
yeah. This is where it comes back to what I brought up, where the difference between their best players and their worst players. But yeah, I don't think that Chester should be a part of this group coming forward.
Agree. Hoff.
Yeah, very good player.
Bailey Williams as a forward.
Yeah, it has to be as a forward though.
Well, at least they know they've got a second ruck there as well.
Yeah.
Ryan Marriage.
No, I don't think so.
I think he'll fall out when Flynn comes back.
Yeah.
Jai Cully.
I feel like he hasn't been given enough of an opportunity, in my opinion.
Well, he's been injured quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's his problem.
I'd like to see him play out a full season, see how many games he gets, and depending on that. It's hard to tell. At this point, I would say no.
I'm a huge fan of him.
I do like Jai Cully, but
think
he
he's
just
really
doesn't get any games. So like whether I'm not sure about his injury status or not, but
yeah, that's his problem. He's quite injury prone.
Yeah.
Jake Waterman.
yeah.
Ruben Jimby is another.
I'd love to see
Interesting.
how he can develop. I think yes. Where did they put him in the second half of the year? Was it a wing? No, it was a
Wing / halfback. Halfback is his
Halfback,
position in
there
my
you go.
opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think he's a halfback. He's
Yeah.
he's not a midfielder.
He wasn't that damaging in the midfield like
no.
we thought he was. They started using him as a tagger a little bit. That didn't really work. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think halfback is the position for him in the future.
Hewitt. I haven't
Yeah.
seen much of him.
Yeah, I would say so.
Harley Reid.
Yep.
Brockman.
Yep.
Oscar Allen.
How old is he?
Who?
Oscar Allen.
26 probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say yes. I'd say he'd be on the back end of his years by the time they're good, though.
He is 25.
Okay, maybe not.
Then Noah Long.
Yeah.
I'm quite a big fan of him as well.
I haven't seen much of him as well. How many games did he play this year? Like 10-ish?
He definitely didn't play many this year. He played for quite a few last year, I believe.
He's another one of those players that has a baby face, right?
Yeah. He's very baby faced.
Yeah.
He looks like he played 7 games this year, 19 last year. I think they were pushing him up on the wing a bit this year. He only kicked the 2 goals, 5 behinds, but was quite consistent at averaging about 10 touches a game. But he's just someone I really want to see them develop because I think he's a very good player.
Yeah, I would want to... I just want to see more of him before I'd make that call. He could definitely potentially become a lot better if he gets the games into him.
That wraps up basically what we're predicting what's going to go on. But before we finish it up, let's go. Where do you think they're going to be next year in terms of the ladder and what they're going to do to get there? Who wants to go first?
I think that they will continue. They'll go 17th. I think
17th.
Yeah.
I agree. I was about to say I think they go below North Melbourne, in my opinion. So 17th place.
What do they do? What do they need to do if they don't want to be there?
I've got no idea. No, I've got nothing.
It's basically impending. Like the best I could say is a really good draft choice at pick 3 and pick 26, a good draft player. But this is like a bomb waiting to implode kind of thing, you know, like from the inside. Just it doesn't look very good for them. Yeah. I say they end with 4 or 5 wins, same as last year.
Well, that wraps up the Eagles exit meeting. We couldn't really tell them what to do to go forward. We can tell them where they went wrong this year, I'm certainly sure. So we'll talk to you guys in the next one.
Thank you.
See ya.